Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, you're tired. Maghrib's coming, so I have like 20 minutes to Maghrib, so inshallah, this talk will be 19 minutes and 30 seconds. So you can move all this stuff to pray Maghrib, inshallah. So Dr. King, I could was like 7 and 9. Oh, 709. Where? Oh, really? Oh, my phone says 701. But that's the sunset. Yeah, I'm happy. I believe the clock hits. Anyway, so I just want to the racism, the militarism, and poverty. Those were Dr. King's, what he identified as the 3 evil triplets. And of course, much could be said about those things. Much has been said over the course of the last 2 days. So I just want to kind of approach it from a slightly different angle in terms of how did Dr. King deal with that? What was the foundation for his effort, rather, to deal with those evil triplets? How can we approach it as Muslims, and how could we possibly succeed in those areas where he failed? And certainly he succeeded in many areas Dr. Bilal mentioned earlier. So if we look at the first, the militarism, and we look at these 3, I'm going to look at these through the lens of God, love, and mercy. Because that's the foundation of our religion. We believe in Allah, we're instructed to love one another, and we're instructed to be merciful to one another. So militarism, as it currently itself, it's a machine that's been constructed to make money off of killing innocent people. And since the advent of aerial bombardment in the 3rd decade of the 20th century, all wars have killed more civilians than combatants.
No.
All wars have killed more civilians than combatants. By design. By design. And in our country, it's designed to keep a murderous industry going. And why do I say by design? It's by design because it's not about winning or losing. If you say that America lost a particular war, Vietnam, America lost in Vietnam. America won in Vietnam because huge profits were made killing 2 million Vietnamese people. Huge profits were made experimenting with weapons to kill other people subsequently. People in Fallujah were killed with white phosphorus. You know how white phosphorus, the impetus to invent white phosphorus? Because when the napalm was dropped in Vietnam, the Vietnamese they put pools of water around the village. They would dive in the water and the napalm would burn out on the surface. So they invented white phosphorus to burn underwater. And that's by design. By design, you take a weapon system and like a jet fighter that might be built by Boeing, partially here in Los Angeles. You get out of the airport, you're greeted by the weapons industry. Boeing's the biggest one. We think of 737s, we don't think of cruise missiles. And right next door to Boeing is Raytheon, one of the top 5s. I'm sure General Dynamics is somewhere. I'm sure a lot of Muslims work up in there too. That's another issue. But the components for that weapon system is distributed by design across as many congressional districts as possible. And so when we talk about shutting down the military industrial complex, we're talking about congressmen having to face their constituents and say, we're taking your job. And it's across so many districts that the likelihood of enough courageous congresspeople or senators coming together to shut that system down is as great as the possibility right now of a snowball surviving in the place where the boogeyman lives. Because we're in the masjid. So it's a daunting task. And it's daunting because of the nature of the design. Dr. King approached it, first of all, from a foundation of God consciousness. He said that, why does he oppose the war in Vietnam and the whole military machine behind that articulates itself into avenues of racism and is directly responsible for much of the poverty? Because now we have the greatest military budget in history, right? Yes. This year. Right. That's right. This year, the greatest military budget in history, human history, because we spend more than the next 10 countries combined. So if we broke a record for one country, it's the greatest in human history. And at the same time, what are they talking about? No more WIC, women and infants and children having milk for poor mothers. No more welfare for people who need it. There are people that cheat. There are a small minority of people. Some people have serious circumstances that require them to reach out for assistance. But no, we're going to get rid of that. We're going to get rid of food stamps. And we're going to give boxes of food. And I wonder what company's going to make those boxes of food. And what's the nutritional value? The last time, Ronald Reagan said ketchup was a vegetable. Right, the last time the government said we're going to get rid of welfare and food stamps. So you open up the box, there'll be some ketchup. So it's a balanced diet. There's some ketchup and some cheese crackers. They say there's dairy, there's cheese crackers, like that powdered cheese that never goes bad. Right, that tells you right there it's not dairy. But the poorest people, education, Pell Grants, all that goes why? So we can buy these weapon systems. So the militarism is directly associated with the poverty. And it's directly rooted in racism. Because who's being bombed? And who's been deprived because of the people being bombed? And who's been made the boogeyman? It's black and brown people. That's who we're scared of. So we have to militarize the border. We have to militarize our relations with other countries. That's what we're doing. What people, we have to know, we have to start thinking. And what are you saying when you put the head of the CIA over the head of the State Department? What's wrong with that? No, sir, I'm asking, what's wrong with that? The CIA is a branch of the State Department. And so what you're saying, we're going to gut diplomacy and we're going to put secret operations, assassinations, undermining governments, murdering innocent people over the department whose primary mission is diplomacy. And we got it. You see all these retirements, unfilled positions, it's by design. It's by design, brothers and sisters. And Dr. King said, he's asked, why are you opposing the war? It's going to hurt your civil rights efforts. He said, because I'm a Christian. Yes. I'm a Christian. And if Jesus could love his enemies so much that he was willing to die for them, what sacrifices should we be making for people who aren't even our enemies? These innocent people being killed all over the world, they're not our enemies. They mean us no harm. And if they did, they couldn't even get to us. They're going to swim across the Atlantic or something. So where are you going? I'm going to America. But think about that. He said, because I'm a Christian. And so we are Muslims. We're Muslims. And so as Muslims, We should be opposing this because Allah tells us in our Quran, وَلَا تَقْتُلُوا النَّفْسَ الَّتِي حَرَّمَ اللَّهُ إِلَّا بِالْحَقِّ. Don't kill the innocent soul that Allah has sanctified. من أجل ذلك كتبنا على بني إسرائيل أنه من قتل نفسا بنفس أو بغير نفس أو فساد في الأرض فكأنما قتل الناس جميعا. Whoever kills an innocent person is as if they've killed all of humanity. ومن أحياها فكأنما أحيا الناس جميعا. And whoever saves an innocent life is as if they've saved all of humanity. And if militarism means killing innocent people for profit, what should a Muslim's position be? What should a Muslim's position be? When Allah said, you don't kill an innocent person that I've sanctified. I've sanctified that life. Love, why? Because Dr. King said, I love people. He was talking about agape, right? Christian love. We have some Muslim love. We have some Muslim love. Allah Ta'ala tells, the Messenger of Allah tells us, لَن تَدْخُلُوا الْجَنَّةَ حَتَّى تُؤْمِنُوا وَلَا تُؤْمِنُوا حَتَّى تَحَابُّوا. You won't enter paradise until you truly believe, and you won't truly believe until you love each other.
Right. Good.
أَوَلَا أَدُلُّكُمْ عَلَى شَيْءٍ إِذَا فَعَلْتُمُوهُ تَحَبَّبْتُمْ أَفْشُوا السَّلَامَ بَيْنَكُمْ. Shall I direct you to something? If you do it, you will love one another. Spread peace amongst yourselves. That's our religion. It's the literal salam. Like there's been warm salams. People happy. So I went to the Black Muslim conference. I ain't even black, and people giving me warm salams. Assalamu alaikum, brother. Assalamu alaikum, sister. That's a sister talking to a sister. Well, I mean, there's so many single sisters and brothers. I mean, they need to stop giving salams to sisters and then marry them. Oh wait, I'm in the masjid. Okay. Spread the peace amongst you. That's the love, but it's the spirit. And Muslim man salim al-Muslimun min lisanihi wa yadi. The Muslim is one, the other Muslim that's safe from his tongue and hand. And Muslim man salim al-nas min lisanihi wa yadi. The Muslim is one, all the people are safe from their tongue and hand. Why? Out of respect and honor for the dignity that Allah has conferred upon the human creation. This is our religion. And then mercy. Dr. King, he wanted to be merciful to people. He said, I don't know those people. I don't know them. But my Christian foundation tells me to be merciful. But our Muslim religion tells us to be merciful. And specifically, the Prophet ﷺ once said, similar hadith to the last one, لَن تَدْخُلُوا الْجَنَّةَ حَتَّى تَرَحَمُوا حَتَّى تَرْحَمُوا. You want to تَرَحَمُوا, paradise until you are merciful to one another. كُلُّنَا رَحِيمًا يَا رَسُولُ اللَّهِ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ. We're all merciful, يَا رَسُولُ اللَّهِ. إِنَّهَا لَيْسَ بِرَحْمَةِ أَحَدِكُمْ صَاحِبًا. It's not the mercy you show to those closest to you. It's not the mercy you show to those, your wife, your spouse, your husband, your parents, your children, your neighbors. وَلَكِنَّهَا رَحْمَةُ النَّاسِ رَحْمَةُ الْعَامَّةِ. It's the mercy you show to all of humanity, to the general public. That's the mercy of the Muslim. We show mercy people we don't know. We show mercy people halfway around the world. We should want mercy. We should want mercy for our children. We shouldn't want another 50 years. You read Dr. King's, I reread it, his speech, Time to Break Silence, his coming out against the Vietnam War, the Riverside Church in New York City, April 4th, 1967. And exactly 1 year later, he was killed, April 4th, 1968. But he said that he cannot remain silent. He cannot reach out to try to understand people that were suffering. And he said that we don't want to see another 50 years of this, another 75 years of this. And we should be saying, we shouldn't want our children to be living in a world and a country where you just cut and paste. You take Vietnam off, you put in Afghanistan, you put in Iraq. You take now 50 years and you put in whoever is being bombed and murdered at that time. We shouldn't want that. We should be more merciful to our young children that they don't have to live that reality. So this is Laysa minna. Yarham saghirana. He's not from us, he's not merciful to our young. She says, it's not the mercy you show to each other, it's the mercy to all of humanity. This is our religion. And so this should push us and motivate us to make sure that people are being systematically starved as a war tactic. We look at famines. You hear a famine in Ethiopia. And you go to Addis Ababa and there's plenty of food in the marketplace. No, people in Ogaden and areas where the Somalis are systematically being starved. Their fields are being burned. There's no food being shipped to them in the times that there's drought. Drought isn't universal. There was drought in California. It was flooding on the East Coast. If push came to shove, we could ship food over here. It's a big country. A lot of these countries are big countries. They're not little specks on the map. They're diverse agricultural regions. But a system of denial and deprivation and orchestrated mass murder is put into place. And we should say we're going to shut it down as a mission, as a communal mission. Because we're people who have hearts. The Prophet ﷺ, in terms of the racism, one hadith, and you take care of the racism, and you take care of the poverty. And if you take care of racism and poverty, I guarantee you'll take care of the militarism. He said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, our Prophet mentioned, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, إن الله لا ينظر إلى صوركم وأموالكم ولكن ينظر إلى قلوبكم وأعمالكم. Allah doesn't look at your physical forms. There goes the racism. Right? What's it founded on? As Dr. Bilal said it. Shaitan was the first racist. It's a demonic, satanic mentality. That's the foundation of racism. ما منعك ألا تسجد إذا مرت قال أنا خير منه خلقتني من نار وخلقتني من طين. Why did you prostrate to Adam when I ordered you, commanded you to do so? Satan didn't make a moral argument. He didn't make an ethical argument. He said, I'm better than him. He didn't say because I kiss more babies after Jummah. He didn't say I help old ladies with their groceries when I go to the grocery store. He didn't say I give more charity, I'm more charitable. He said, you made me from fire and you made him from clay. He appealed to the human, to the physical distinction that Allah doesn't even look at. Allah doesn't look at your physical forms. It was form and it was color, because fire has color. Blue, get some orange up in there, depending on what you're burning. You even get some white in there sometimes, some yellow. And what color was the clay? The majority opinion, black clay. The first racist. And every racist is following in Shaitan's footsteps. And Shaitan is our enemy. If Shaitan, وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا خُطُوَاتِ الشَّيْطَانِ إِنَّهُ كَانَ لَكُمْ عَدُوًّا مُبِينًا. Don't follow the footsteps of Satan. He's an open enemy unto you. Which means what? If Shaitan's our enemy, racism and racists are our enemies. Because they're from the Hizb of Shaitan. They're from the Hizb of Shaitan. They're from the awliya of Shaitan. And what does Allah tell us about? فَقَاتِلُوا أَوْلِيَاءَ الشَّيْطَانِ إِنَّ كَيْدَ الشَّيْطَانِ كَانَ ضَعِيفًا. Allahu Akbar. Struggle against the dupes of Satan. His scheme is weak. Like racism is so weak.
Please.
Like philosophically, biologically, it's a weak argument that these differences have any significance to the extent that they even exist. But so if we're Muslims and the law says fight the dupes of Satan, then we should be leading the struggle against racism. Starting in our own race, but it starts in our hearts. That's the racism. He doesn't look at your wealth. He doesn't look at these social economic differences, because most of them are based on the accident of birth. If you were born in whatever city you were born in, if you were born a couple zip codes over, you'd be wealthy. If you were born a couple zip codes over, you'd be poor. It's the accident of birth. So how could that be the basis of any distinction? You're not rich because of who you are or what you did. Well, I worked hard for my money. There are people work 20 times harder than you and they're still poor. They get up 4 in the morning, catch the bus in Stockton to commute to San Francisco, because they can't even dream of renting a property in San Francisco. And they work one job from 7 in the morning, or it may take longer than that to get from Stockton. From 8 in the morning to 12 noon. At 12 noon, they get on the BART and then go to Oakland and work another job from 2 o'clock until 6 o'clock. Then they get on the bus, go back to Stockton. They work 10 times harder than you work. And they're not rich. So your effort and your work ethic didn't make you rich. The favor and test of Allah made you rich. So how are you going to respond? We're talking about liberalism. Liberalism, there's no external other to tell you how to act, just as long as you don't hurt somebody else, or how to spend your money. A Muslim, there's an external agent that tells you how you have to spend some of your money, because it's not your money. It's Allah's money. Give them from the wealth of Allah He's given you. وَفِي أَمْوَالِهِمْ حَقٌّ مَعْلُومٌ. And in their wealth there's a well-defined right, defined by Allah, for the poor, for the wayfarer, for the traveler, for those who are burdened with debt, to help pay off their debts, and other categories of voluntary and compulsory spending.
To be.
And the thing is, what do you do with the wealth to help uplift others? What do you do with the wealth to help uplift others? But these distinctions, I'm in this class, you're in that class, I look down on you. I shop at Food Max, you shop at Food Max, I shop at Whole Foods, I'm better than you. You don't even know what's going on at Food Max. They have an organic section now. You're a fool. You're spending all your money at Whole Foods. Whole Foods.
Very easy.
That stuff doesn't matter to Allah. We should be the people telling to this country, to this world, your race, your color, your shape, your hair texture, your eye, your bank account. None of that stuff matters with Allah. Rather, Allah looks at your hearts and He looks at your deeds. The hearts are all the same color and the deeds have no color. That's what matters with Allah. And that should be the foundation of us attacking racism and attacking materialism from their very heart of divine and prophetically inspired teaching. And then we attack it at 2 levels. There's a structural level, so I'm not saying you don't address that, but there's also an individual level. We could say structurally, the police, post-slavery, an opinion. I'm just saying. There's probably live stream, just live streaming. I'm live streaming. Yeah. He's live streaming. So you can say the police is a racist institution by nature. All right, and so we have to reform the police department. Once we do all the policy changes, all the structural changes, all the institutional changes, but we don't address the racist family that are raising the racist kids who become the racist cops. So as Muslims, we say we have to address it at both levels, at the structural level and at the individual level. And if we do one without the other, we probably won't get too far, because the institution will make the person and affect the person who might not be a racist. We know nice people, they go into certain institutions, they become very nasty. That's the nation. One of these ladies whose son, nice, wholesome boy, he wants to go and help to whatever, avenge 9/11. You know, he's out in the middle of Iowa somewhere, and her son comes back, he's messed up, tattoos all over his body. She said, I gave them a decent human being and they sent me back a murderer. That's what the institution did. So we have to address both. But if we address one without the other, we're not going to change anything. But our job, our primary job as a Muslim, is to address the heart. To address the heart. And to start by just reminding people that your heart, this is what Allah looks at. وَلَكِنْ يَنْظُرُ إِلَىٰ قُلُوبِكُمْ. Allah looks at your heart. We should want Allah to see the best of us when He looks at our heart. We shouldn't want Allah to look at a heart that's filled with envy and jealousy, racism, arrogance, pride, cowardice. We should want Allah to look at an enlightened heart. And that's our mission, to enlighten hearts. And the enlightened heart is the foundation of an enlightened human being. وَعَمَالِكُمْ. And He looks at your deeds. And we should strive to have the very best of deeds. The very best of deeds. And so, that's our foundation, I believe. God consciousness, love and mercy. We have to love each other. You won't enter Jannah until you love each other. We don't have room for all these hatreds and divisions that tear us apart as Muslims. Yes, sir. It's a shame. You go online and read the comments that are being said about some Muslim, that the people making the comments don't even know.
He's sleeping.
Don't even know. It brings tears to your eyes. And we're supposed to love each other as a condition to enter paradise. We're supposed to be merciful to each other. لن تدخلوا الجنة حتى تؤمنوا ولا تؤمنوا حتى تراحموا. As a condition to enter paradise. And so we have to say to ourselves, we have to say to our country, we have to say to this world, if you want to go to hell, just keep doing what you're doing. But if you want to go to heaven, and if you want to be saved, and if you want to help to work towards a better world, we have to affirm our belief in God. And we have to affirm our commitment to loving each other. And we have to affirm our commitment to being merciful to each other. And if we do those three things, inshallah, and we commit ourselves to be a loving, nurturing community, that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about the lack of love and the lack of nurturing and the lack of mercy in our communities, in our country, in our world. If we commit ourselves, each and every one of us, just in this room alone, we would change the course of this nation.
No, it's the...
Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was one, he changed the course of human history.
What?
What could 200 or 300 people do?
Please.
If they made that same commitment, with that same depth, and that same passion, and then we spread that amongst the people. We do tremendous good, brothers and sisters. So my time is up, and we pray that everyone leaves here invigorated. I'd like to thank Sheikh Norman Bey for opening the doors of the IOK
Yes.
So I'm sure you will agree with me that the IOK is A-OK. And I want to say something nice about liberalism. The fact that we're here is a direct consequence of the liberal state. And so it's not all bad, because tolerance, equal rights, freedom of assembly, freedom of speech, we're exercising those. And so if we can build on that foundation and help to mitigate some of the more harmful things, we'll all be well served. May Allah bless you. I love all of you. And I'll have nothing else to say. You want to say something? Yeah, straight. All right.
It's rough in my drop in my.
Oh, I gotta say something. Drop your mic. I hope I said some words that you like, because I'm out of here now. I'm gonna drop the mic.
It's